the Carr Skylark. Switching to the line. So that was the strat. Everything on pointing straight up. We got a few controls on here. Starts off with the volume, treble, mid, bass, reverb, presence, unusual for a Fender style amp, and an attenuator at the end. So what is this amp supposed to do? Well, what it is basically is a smaller version of the Carr Slant, and so it's trying to be a blackface, deluxe reverb kind of a style, but in a much smaller package. This is only 21 inches wide, 15.5 inches tall, and 9 inches deep. And although it's still pretty heavy, it's a very small amp. This is really designed to be a home or studio amp, especially with the inclusion of the attenuator. Now, having said all of that, it's really loud. It's only rated at 12 watts. But without the attenuator, this would still be a very loud amp for home use. Before we carry on with the rest of the review, obligatory plug for the channel. Please hit like and subscribe. Click the bell to get notified. Leave a comment. Whatever it is, all interaction with this channel is really welcome, and your support helps me a huge amount. So let's get back to the review. So this is in here, a 12-inch speaker. It's Celestion A-Type, which Celestion say is their American voiced speaker. I happened to find out the other day that Celestion A-Type is the speaker in the Fender Hot Rod Deluxe, which is a really popular amp and is very good at doing that blackface thing. So otherwise, this I've mentioned already, this is a very loud amp, even though I think it's designed for the home player. And so of course you could play small gigs with it, and as everybody always says, small amps, you can just mic them up and stick them through the PA if that's the way you're going. But this is a pretty loud amp. So how I thought I would demo this is I'm going to play a couple of guitars. I'm going to try the Strat, and then I'll have a go with the Les Paul. In the manual, there are a bunch of settings. You can't see them from there, I might throw them up on the screen. There are a bunch of settings, and it says these are a variety of recommended settings that give you a good place to start. So I'm going to work through those and do some sound samples that way. So first of all, it says 60s American clean. I'm going to turn the attenuator off, which I had on a minute ago. 60s American clean, treble, little bit of cut on the middle, bass 12 o'clock, reverb on 1 o'clock, presence at 12 o'clock. Don't know if you heard that, by the way. The presence control makes a bit of a whooshing noise, which is correct. So this is what Steve Carr calls 60s American clean. agree with him. It sounds absolutely beautiful. So that's a beautiful sound. It really does. This amp, although it's based on a Fender Harvard, it's kind of a crossover between a Harvard and a Princeton. This is a way better amp, by the way, than a Princeton. I used to own a Princeton. This is so much more versatile and so much better than a Princeton. But so if you're looking between a PRRI and one of these, this is the one to get if you've got the money. So the Harvard has got a sort of tweed heritage, and I think that's where you get some of this sort of grind from the tweed side. I'm not a fan of tweed amps. I like blackface amps, but in this amp it really, really works. So let's oh, by the way, I think I had the wrong setting on. I had the wrong setting on. There's a toggle switch on here that is low or high. So Steve, I may have mentioned already, Steve refers to high as a sort of hot rod sound. I have no idea what it's doing in the circuit. I suspect some sort of tone stack lift, and so I'll just demonstrate the low and the high. That's low. Here's high. I don't think you can hear it. It gets slightly louder. There's a little bit more of an edge to the sound. So a little bit hard to tell, to be honest, because of course when the volume goes up, your ears get tricked into thinking something that it isn't. Right, so let's go. The next setting says thick blackface. So this one I have to toggle high. Volume goes to 12 o'clock. And then treble at 1 o'clock, and middle goes round to 9 o'clock. That drives this amp, by the way. When you turn the mids up, everything gets driven. Because of course the tone is actually cutting signal. It's pulling signal away. So as you lift up the mids, more signal's going through and driving gain. And then on bass, he says 12 o'clock. Reverb, bring it back to 9 o'clock. And presence at 1 o'clock. I suppose if I cut the mids, it goes a little bit more scooped, obviously. And that's with the mids at 9 o'clock. Okay, low volume grind, toggle high again. Use attenuator. I'm going to use the attenuator. I'm going to turn the attenuator up to max. You can still get pretty loud with the attenuator on, by the way. So volume on maximum, treble 1 o'clock, middle at 9 o'clock. I can already hear the noise coming from the amp. Bass, reverb off, and the presence on 0. And here we go, we've got some... With the attenuator on 1.2 watts. So I would say, if just to have a look at the attenuator for a second, we put that 12 o'clock. That's that's still much louder than a television. So I'm going to have to put it, although, by the way, at 12 o'clock on this setting, it's much louder than a television, but it's certainly like a practice level where you would say this is not really super loud. Probably the sort of volume that you would test a piece of equipment out in a guitar shop. Let's take it attenuator down to 9 o'clock. This is a quarter. I would say still a little bit louder than a television, but if your neighbours are pretty cool. I live in a flat, which for an American, by the way, is an apartment, and my neighbours are upstairs, and I think they would be able to hear that, but only just, you know, like a loud radio. Bridge pickup. Yeah, nice sound. Does it sound really martially? That's what, you know, people say this goes from blackface to martial. I don't really think so. I mean, that to me is a sort of tweedy blackface overdrive sound. I know, of course, Marshalls are really Fenders that were modified, but it's not the same, in my opinion, at least not on those settings. Right, Texas Overdrive, toggle low, oddly enough, on Texas Overdrive. Here we go. So 9 o'clock on the volume, straight up on the treble, straight up on the mids, cut the bass a little bit, just like an 808 would cut the bass, keep the reverb off, and take the presence round to 9 o'clock. I'm going to turn it up because I enjoy a bit of Texas blues, right? Exactly how I would dial a Texas Overdrive sound in, but it's definitely very believable. This is way better than a Princeton, way better than a deluxe reverb, way better. Can't get a sound like that out of those things. So that's the Texas Overdrive. Let's go back to some clean sounds. Toggle low. This is what Steve Carr calls scoop ambient volume on 3. I'm going to turn the attenuator off. Volume on 3. Volume on 9 o'clock. Treble up, middle down, bass up. So it's a super scooped with a big reverb on it. And the presence is up at 1 o'clock. Let's go on the in-between position on Strat. I don't know whether my ears are completely blown, but that doesn't seem too loud. That's a kind of home playing. Turn it up a bit. Sounds really nice. Okay, to hollow overdrive. Toggle H. Okay, we're back to the attenuator. Volume on 9 o'clock, treble on 1 o'clock. Middle down. bass on 12 o'clock, reverb down, presence at 11 o'clock. Sound for that, but anyway, you get the idea. Okay, mild overdrive, says Steve. Let's try this one. Toggle L, volume 1 o'clock, treble 12 o'clock, middle at 1 o'clock, bass cut a little bit, 10 o'clock, something like that, reverb 10 o'clock, presence 1 o'clock. I've still got the attenuator on. Very nice tone. Very, very nice tone. This one's called 11. Goodness knows. I'm going to turn the attenuator on for this. So this is everything on max, really. So volume on maximum. Treble on 9 o'clock. Middle on maximum. Bass cut. Reverb off. Presence on 9 o'clock. Kind of where I think the story comes that this can go into martial territory. Obviously I can't quite do Van Halen, but the amp can't quite do Van Halen. It's not that real tight JCM 800 kind of Marshall thing. Like I say, to me this is a blackface overdriven sound, and it's a nice sound, but it isn't a Marshall. That's at least not in my opinion. Let's just swap out the guitar and try a little bit of Les Paul and see how that sounds through it. Obviously I nearly fell over then and broke the headstock off my Les Paul and cost myself thousands. Let's just go back. No, actually, let's start on. So if we go back, I'm still on the attenuator. If we go back to that Marshall-y thing, so we'll go max, mid max. My goodness, scary. Sustain with Les Paul. Wow, the attenuator is a 1-1. Treble cut back and up the treble a little bit and reduce the mids. Wow. Cut the mids back a little bit, up the treble, cut the bass. I'm going to increase presence a little bit. That's better. So there you go. Wow, that's so nice with the Les Paul. It even does Santana. A little bit of reverb, I think, Santana. Sound like a Marshall with the, of course, Santana. What am I talking about? He plays mezzo boogies, which are modified Fenders. So actually, this is doing the whole Santana thing with the overdriven, hot-rodded Fender sound. Wow! Wow! Thing is, I don't really. is amazing. I can't believe it, the attenuator's on. It's so loud. But the attenuator is on about 1 watt. If I just, let's go back to the attenuator for a second on those tones. If I take it back to about 20%, 25%. I'm not really going to talk about the quality of the attenuator, except to say, obviously it works, it's absolutely fine. But you can't really get the feeling of those tones without some volume. I think it's just, you know, Fletcher, Munson effect and all of that stuff in your ears. It's just not so satisfying to play. And I have to say, wow, that was so inspiring to hear some of those tones. So it sounds like I'm a complete fanboy of this amp. And to be honest with you, I am a big fanboy of this amp, and I think it's a fantastically good amp. It's really, really versatile, although it's fully centered on that blackface, Stevie Ray Vaughan, Jimi Hendrix kind of thing. So if you are the sort of player that plays a strapped neck pickup, enjoys playing those tones and doing those little Hendrixy things. Hang on, let's see if I can get it out of here. No, not really. If you enjoy doing those kind of things, then this is the amp for you. If you're, like I say, this is twice the price of a Princeton, twice the price, but I would say it's twice the amp. It's way more satisfying. So, fantastic tone and fantastic options, really. It's very, very flexible. So, the other thing is, if you like cool build quality, then I'm going to show you some gut shots here now. Inside, it's point-to-point hand-wired. It really is made in a very, very old-fashioned way. And I did have some problems with this amp, actually. I had some strange noise and various problems when I first got it. And I bought it second-hand, which is used for Americans. And I bought it second-hand, and I was having noise when I pushed the mids up, and the volume wouldn't go up properly, and so on and so on. Now, I did end up changing all the tubes in here, valves for English people. I changed all the valves. But you know, Steve Carr was immensely responsive and really very, very helpful, going so far as to help me change a component, which I did. I changed a capacitor in here as part of fixing it. So a really helpful company who are really committed to high quality products. So I'm going to get to the part to say, but what don't I like about this amp? Well, probably the worst thing about it is the way the control panel is designed. I'm going to show you a close-up, but basically there's a lip here, and the text for the controls is almost underneath the lip. So you can't see the text. If you're sitting in front of your amp, which is what I normally do, sit in front of my amp and twiddle knobs and play, then I can't see the knobs. It's really, really frustrating. If you were on stage, it would be just as bad, if not worse, because you might have the amp raised up on an amp stand, and then it would make it even harder to see over the top. So that is honestly really awful, and it's so easy to fix because he could put the text on the top above the knobs, not underneath. Oh my God, it's so bad. Really, really annoying, and I don't know why he didn't think of it when he was designing it. The other thing that frustrates me slightly is this amp could really do with an effects loop. That would really help me. A couple of things. One, I like to use a looper, and if I put the looper in the effects loop, it means I can change preamp settings to play a rhythm and a lead part. Can't do that on this amp, and it would be great if I could put a delay or something in the loop. Now, I haven't asked Steve Carr this, but presumably tone purists say that an effects loop damages the tone somehow. I would say just make it switchable, maybe make it defeatable, so that you could bypass it if it bothered you. But of course, it all adds cost and time to building it. And the other point that's frustrating about this is that the rear panel is closed off, and so it means it's difficult to get to the speaker cable. I quite like recording using the Cab M. And the Cab M allows you to play your amp using headphones, but it's really difficult for me to get to the speaker connection, and so I can't really do it with this amp. So in summary, what is this amp? So this amp is way better than a Princeton or a Deluxe reverb, but it's for the home player especially. If you like American Fender style tones and you want to be able to control them better, then this amp is absolutely fantastic. One of my other amps is a Tone King Imperial, and I think that amp really sets the benchmark for giant 3D big blackface tone. It sounds fantastic, but it can't do very much else. It's got a dirty channel which sounds to me absolutely awful. It's supposed to sound like a tweed. I think it probably does sound like a tweed, but it's a real full-on tweed. Whereas this goes from clean to edge breakup really smoothly. So if you want to have a blackface clean, a Stevie Ray Vaughan / Jimi Hendrix low gain sound, and then some of those big high gain sounds that I demoed earlier on the Les Paul, then this is a fantastic amp. It's well built, and with lots of control, and sounds fantastic. And with the attenuator, it's easy to play it at home. Although, to be honest, when the volume is low, it's not that there's anything wrong with the attenuator, it's just low volume playing tends to be a lot less satisfying. Okay, well, if you've made it all the way through to the end, which would be amazing if you had, because it's about half an hour long, but if you've made it, well, look at HP42, right? He's playing, his videos last an hour. But anyway, so if you've made it all the way through to the end, I hope you've enjoyed it. Please hit the like button, add a comment. All comments are really welcome. It's almost even negative comments are welcome. Just somebody please say something. And hit the subscribe button because it really helps the channel if you hit the subscribe channel. I'm going to be doing more of these reviews and trying to put out some more content more regularly. Okay, thanks guys. See you next time.